Hi, I'm Dr. Mohit Kara, professor of urology at Baylor College of Medicine. I've dedicated my career to men's health, testosterone therapy, and sexual wellness. And today, I want to share something that's not just about physical stamina, but about building deeper connections with your partner, especially for men over the age of 70. When we think about stamina in men, particularly after the age of 70, it's easy to assume it's purely about physical ability. The strength to perform, the endurance to last longer, or the energy to keep up with the demands of intimacy. But true stamina at this stage of life is far more layered. It's not just the mechanics of sexual function, it's about the depth of connection you can create with your partner. This is the reason why intimacy must be reframed from being solely performance-driven to being connection-driven. The way you touch, the way you kiss, and the way you emotionally engage your partner often speaks louder than physical performance itself. For many men, the biggest challenge after 70 isn't necessarily the desire, it's the pressure they put on themselves to perform the way they used to. Erectile difficulties, decreased testosterone, or lower energy levels can create frustration and even distance between partners. But when you step back and realize that intimacy thrives on emotional closeness, tenderness, and presence, you begin to see that your role as a lover hasn't diminished. It has evolved. You now have the opportunity to explore the kind of passion that isn't dependent on speed or endurance, but rather on meaningful connection and deliberate touch. One of the most powerful yet underutilized tools in sustaining intimacy is kissing. This simple act, which many couples overlook as they age, has the ability to transform the way your partner feels about you and the intimacy you share together. Kissing is more than a prelude to intercourse. It's an entire language of love, safety, and desire. When done with intention, it triggers the release of oxytocin, dopamine, and other neurochemicals that enhance bonding, arousal, and emotional satisfaction. For women especially, kissing often carries deeper emotional significance than the act of sex itself. It communicates affection, security, and presence in a way that performance alone cannot. This is why men after 70 should look at kissing as a cornerstone of intimacy, not as an optional gesture. Think of it as a gateway to emotional connection, a way to bridge the gap between the challenges of physical stamina and the deeper needs of your partner. A well-placed, thoughtful kiss can spark more arousal and closeness than any attempt to force physical performance. And the beauty of it is that this form of intimacy is not bound by age, hormones, or endurance. It's fully within your control. By embracing kissing as an essential act of love, you shift the focus from pressure to pleasure, from performance to presence. This is the kind of stamina that lasts well into your 70s and beyond. The stamina of the heart, the patience of touch, and the willingness to nurture intimacy in ways that go beyond what the body alone can achieve. The first spot that often awakens both physical and emotional intimacy is the neck. For centuries, this has been considered one of the most sensitive areas of the body, and modern science confirms why. The skin on the neck is thinner, more delicate, and richly supplied with nerve endings that respond intensely to gentle touch, warmth, and pressure. When you place slow, tender kisses along the side of the neck, you activate these nerve pathways, sending signals to the brain that heighten arousal and stimulate a powerful emotional response. For a woman, this is not only pleasurable but deeply bonding because it demonstrates attention, care, and patience, qualities that matter even more as couples age together. When men over 70 begin to explore intimacy through the neck, the emphasis should not be on speed or intensity, but on presence and variation. A soft kiss near the collarbone can feel entirely different than a lingering kiss just beneath the ear. Both awaken her senses in unique ways. Adding gentle pauses, soft breaths against the skin, or even a whispered word can intensify the experience. This isn't about rushing toward the next stage of intimacy, but about creating a rhythm that allows your partner to feel cherished, desired, and safe. For many women, the buildup of anticipation from this kind of affection is more powerful than the act of intercourse itself. What's remarkable is how neck kissing ties directly into emotional intimacy. It releases oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, which helps your partner feel closer to you. This becomes especially important later in life, when both partners may feel more vulnerable, physically, emotionally, or even psychologically, due to the natural changes of aging. A gentle kiss on the neck reassures her that intimacy is not just about performance or physical stamina, but about connection and tenderness. This can ease anxieties about aging and foster confidence in the relationship. For men who may be struggling with stamina at this stage, focusing on the neck provides a powerful way to keep intimacy alive. Even if energy is lower or erections are not as strong, you still have complete control over how you use touch and attention. The neck becomes a canvas where you can express love, excitement, and sensuality without the burden of pressure. In fact, many women in long-term relationships report that affectionate acts like neck kissing mean more to them than sexual performance because they signal closeness and a willingness to engage emotionally. By learning to slow down and savor these moments, men can actually enhance their own stamina. Instead of focusing entirely on maintaining physical energy or prolonging performance, you're investing in intimacy that is sustainable, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling. A simple, thoughtful kiss on the neck has the power to awaken desire, reduce stress, and build anticipation that naturally leads to more satisfying physical intimacy. It shows your partner that you value her not only as someone to share pleasure with, but as someone you deeply care for, even in the smallest gestures. The forehead may not be the first place men think of when it comes to intimacy, but a kiss placed here carries a weight that goes beyond physical desire. It is a gesture loaded with meaning, one that communicates love, respect, and reassurance on a level deeper than passion alone. When a man kisses his partner on the forehead, it sends a message of emotional safety. It says, "I am here for you, I care for you, and you matter to me." For many women, especially in long-term relationships, that sense of safety is what allows them to fully open up emotionally and physically. As men age, particularly after 70, it's common to feel that the focus of intimacy is shifting away from physical vigor. But the forehead kiss proves that intimacy doesn't fade with age. It simply matures. This small act is powerful because it connects the emotional with the physical in a way that bypasses performance altogether. It is tender, deliberate, and thoughtful. It signals that your bond is more than just physical attraction. It is built on decades of trust, companionship, and love. And when your partner feels this level of emotional connection, her body naturally responds, because emotional intimacy fuels physical arousal. Neuroscience gives us further insight into why the forehead kiss is so impactful. Gentle touch and kissing in this area stimulate the release of oxytocin, which fosters bonding and reduces stress hormones like cortisol. The sensation is calming, reassuring, and grounding. For women, who often experience arousal through emotional security rather than just visual or physical cues, this kind of touch prepares the body for deeper intimacy. It creates a safe space where vulnerability is welcomed and desire can grow naturally. For men over 70, embracing the forehead kiss as part of intimacy is also liberating. It allows you to express love and closeness even on days when physical stamina might not be at its best. It eliminates the pressure of performance and replaces it with presence. A kiss on the forehead doesn't require energy, endurance, or even perfect timing. It simply requires sincerity. This sincerity is what your partner feels most deeply, and it is what strengthens the foundation of your relationship. It's also worth noting that the forehead kiss can serve as a bridge between everyday affection and physical intimacy. A kiss placed here during moments of closeness, before bed, while holding hands, or after a meaningful conversation, can spark warmth and connection that later translates into physical intimacy. It keeps the spark alive in ways that are subtle yet deeply influential. Ultimately, the forehead kiss reminds both partners that intimacy after 70 is about nurturing love in its fullest form. It teaches that stamina is not measured in minutes of performance, but in years of consistent care and connection. When a man makes this small gesture, he shows his partner that intimacy is not just something they share in the bedroom. It's woven into the fabric of their daily lives. And that, perhaps, is the most enduring and powerful form of stamina there is. The lips are often thought of as the most obvious place to kiss, but the way you approach them makes all the difference. Especially after the age of 70, many men assume that kissing on the lips is either about passion or a quick prelude to intimacy, but in reality, it can be an entire experience on its own. When you shift your mindset from speed and urgency to intention and variety, kissing on the lips becomes a powerful tool to spark both emotional and physical arousal. For women, this is especially significant because the lips are highly sensitive, packed with nerve endings that respond immediately to pressure, softness, and warmth. A slow, thoughtful kiss can send waves of stimulation throughout her body in ways that are just as exciting, if not more so, than the act of sex itself. For men in their 70s, the beauty of lip kissing lies in the ability to create anticipation. Instead of trying to replicate the hurried, forceful kisses of youth, focus on slowing down. Gentle, lingering kisses interspersed with moments of pause allow your partner's mind and body to build excitement. The anticipation of what comes next can be even more stimulating than the kiss itself. Varying the intensity, sometimes light, sometimes deeper, creates a rhythm that keeps her engaged and present in the moment. By giving her your full attention in these moments, you are telling her without words that she is desired, valued, and worth every second of your focus. What makes kissing on the lips especially powerful is its connection to emotional intimacy. Lip kissing requires closeness, face to face, eye to eye. It eliminates distance and forces vulnerability. When done slowly and with sincerity, it can feel like a renewal of vows, a silent expression of love that words cannot fully capture. For women, this intimacy builds trust and opens the pathway for deeper connection, both emotionally and physically. Science supports this as well. Lip kissing stimulates dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and desire, while also boosting oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This combination strengthens emotional closeness and enhances arousal simultaneously. For men who may worry about performance or stamina, this is encouraging, because it means that passion and satisfaction don't depend solely on erections or endurance. A meaningful kiss on the lips can accomplish what physical performance alone cannot. It creates lasting emotional resonance. In long-term relationships, kissing on the lips often gets neglected. Couples may peck each other out of habit but forget the transformative power of a deep, intentional kiss. Reviving this practice, especially later in life, can reignite passion and remind both partners of the attraction and love that first brought them together. When you take time to truly savor a kiss, you shift intimacy from something mechanical to something meaningful, from fleeting moments to lasting impressions. For men over 70, this is where true stamina shines, not in proving physical prowess, but in showing patience, presence, and care. A kiss on the lips that is thoughtful and intentional can bridge the gap between emotional and physical intimacy, keeping your connection vibrant, passionate, and deeply fulfilling well into the later years of life. As men age into their 70s, one of the most common challenges they face is the gradual decline in physical stamina. Erections may not be as firm, recovery times become longer, and energy levels can fluctuate from day to day. For many men, this shift brings frustration, disappointment, and even embarrassment. They may find themselves comparing their present abilities to what they could do in their 40s or 50s, and the gap can feel discouraging. But what's important to understand is that intimacy does not need to end when physical performance begins to change. In fact, this stage of life opens the door to a richer and more meaningful form of intimacy. One that prioritizes connection, creativity, and emotional depth over simple physical performance. Many men define stamina narrowly, believing it to mean only sexual endurance or the ability to sustain intercourse for a long period of time. But true stamina after 70 is broader and far more valuable. It is about having the patience to explore your partner's needs, the presence of mind to stay connected in the moment, and the creativity to discover new pathways to pleasure. When physical limitations arise, embracing other forms of intimacy like kissing, touch, and emotional closeness allows men to maintain passion without the pressure of living up to unrealistic expectations. Kissing in particular becomes a powerful tool here because it bypasses many of the physical hurdles associated with aging. A kiss does not require a firm erection, youthful energy, or physical endurance. It only requires intention, focus, and sincerity. A well-placed kiss, whether on the neck, forehead, or lips, can awaken desire, strengthen emotional closeness, and lead to moments of passion that feel just as fulfilling as intercourse. In fact, many women value these gestures more than penetrative sex itself because they demonstrate care, attention, and love. It's also worth remembering that the body responds differently with age, but that doesn't mean desire disappears. For many men, arousal may come more slowly, but the build-up through acts like kissing often makes the experience more satisfying. By shifting the focus away from performance and toward shared experiences of intimacy, men reduce anxiety and pressure, two of the biggest killers of sexual function at any age. This perspective can be incredibly empowering. Instead of viewing stamina as something that is slipping away, men can redefine it as something they still control fully, the ability to create closeness, to nurture trust, and to express love through meaningful gestures. When physical challenges arise, it is these gestures, like kissing, that keep intimacy alive and thriving. Ultimately, intimacy after 70 is about embracing a new definition of masculinity, one that is not limited to physical dominance, but expanded by emotional presence and tenderness. By focusing on connection rather than performance, men discover that their ability to satisfy their partners remains strong, and in many ways, becomes even more profound with age. One of the most overlooked truths about intimacy is that it does not begin or end in the bedroom. It is carried in the small gestures that happen throughout the day. The gentle squeeze of a hand, the embrace that lingers a little longer, or the unexpected kiss that says, "I still choose you." Research consistently shows that couples who maintain these affectionate behaviors, kissing, hugging, holding hands, report greater relationship satisfaction, deeper trust, and stronger physical intimacy, even when sexual performance naturally declines with age. For men in their 70s, this is incredibly important because it proves that intimacy is not lost with time. Rather, it can evolve into something richer and more enduring. When a man takes the time to hold his partner's hand in public or wrap her in a warm hug at home, he is reinforcing a bond that goes far beyond physical attraction. These gestures release oxytocin, the hormone responsible for bonding and emotional closeness, while lowering stress and anxiety. For a woman, such acts communicate love and security. For a man, they create a renewed sense of connection that reduces pressure to prove himself through performance alone. Together, they create a foundation of trust that makes physical intimacy more natural and enjoyable when it happens. Hugging, for example, is not just about comfort. It is about alignment of hearts and bodies. A full embrace allows both partners to feel each other's warmth, breathing, and presence. This physical closeness quiets the mind and reminds both individuals of their shared journey. For couples who have been together for decades, these moments often mean more than grand gestures because they reflect consistency, reliability, and care. Similarly, holding hands, whether walking through a park or sitting together on the couch, is a silent but powerful affirmation of connection. It tells your partner, "We are still a team. We are still together in this." Kissing, too, becomes more than a prelude to intimacy at this stage. It becomes intimacy itself. A kiss on the forehead before sleep, a lingering kiss on the lips during a quiet moment, or even a playful peck in the middle of the day keeps passion alive without pressure. These small acts remind your partner that desire is not gone, that attraction still exists, and that love remains vibrant even after 70. For men, embracing these behaviors also reframes the way stamina is understood. Instead of focusing only on sexual endurance, stamina becomes the ability to maintain connection, affection, and passion on a daily basis. It is the patience to keep showing up for your partner in small ways, the energy to nurture intimacy even when physical function changes, and the resilience to adapt as life evolves. This type of stamina often matters more than physical performance, because it ensures that the relationship stays strong, fulfilling, and loving for years to come. The couples who thrive into their later years are not the ones who cling to youthful performance, but the ones who adapt by embracing affection as the cornerstone of intimacy. In this way, hugging, kissing, and holding hands become the quiet but powerful acts that sustain not only passion, but also the profound sense of closeness that makes love last a lifetime.